Okay. 5, 4, 3. Good evening and welcome to the monthly mystical. It's so lovely to see you all. Do not forget, oh, hold on. There's always something. I've just heard myself repeating exactly the same thing on my YouTube channel. Okay, so anyway, good evening. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with everyone, because it's helping the channel, and we really need to get this channel up and running so that everybody can see all the magical stuff that we do. Yeah? Okay. Right, it's been a hectic few weeks, and I don't know, hang on, I've got something else going on here. There's another blum. What is that? Okay. I have no idea. Oh. Okay, we have got comments. Oh, there we go, that's why. Hi! Bob and Elaine on not the sunny not the sunny Isle of Wight. Hi Bob and Elaine, lovely to see you tonight. Oh hi Carl, lovely to be back. Yes, it is. I've been so excited, and guess what? I'm really excited because this is just like this is going to be a really heartwarming episode, I think, this evening. I'm so excited to welcome Helen Wilson to the stage, and for her to talk about her stuff, and I just can't wait, because yeah, let's go. I'm not even gonna blab on, even, you know what I'm like, blab and blab. Right, let's just go. Let's welcome Helen to the stage. Hang on, let me 2 seconds, because I'm trying to be clever and it doesn't always work. Because I need somebody else to do this bit. There we go. Right, I've got my ticker tape on, and let's add Helen to the stage. Hi.
Hi. Hello there. Good evening. Are you all right?
And welcome. Yes, I'm really excited to hear everything about all your story and what you've got to tell us. I'm not going to lie, I don't understand, so I am very excited for you to tell us all about your stuff. Let me get rid of my music. Go on, carry on.
So, well, it's great, you know, for people who don't know anything about it, and hopefully by the end of the talk, they'll have a little bit of a introductory understanding of what a psychopomp is, and how that applies in the world today as well, and in the work of Soul Midwives.
Oh, yeah. So Soul Midwife, that's your role, right? What you do. You're a soul midwife, yeah?
Yeah, I am. You know, obviously, you know, I'm a nurse and I'm soul midwife. So I walk with people through their death journeys in real life. But there's another dimension to the notion of a soul midwife as a psychopomp, and that's really what we're going to look at. Certainly, people, if they're interested in soul midwifery, will be able to find a lot more information about what it is and what we do if they go to Felicity Warner's Soul Midwives website page, and that will give a lot more understanding. But you know, that's obviously not what I'm focusing on today.
No problem. But I will add that onto the description below if anybody's interested in finding out a little bit more about that. I'm sure Helen will give me the website for that. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
I might have even put it in the links there somewhere. Yeah.
Yes, okay. That'd be fabulous. All right then. So shall we crack on?
Okay.
So I will stick up the slides for you, and then we can crack on from there. Off you pop.
Lovely. So tonight we're going to talk about psychopomps and the alchemy of transformation from the perspective of a soul midwife, myself. Between the worlds, at the threshold of life and death, the soul awaits for its guide. The psychopomp moves slowly, silently, an alchemist of the spirit, transforming endings into beginnings and fear into sacred trust. This evening, I want to share some of my reflections on this archetype from my own perspective as a soul midwife, from my personal journey, and in relation to the alchemy of transformation. Next slide, please. My journey. I am by profession a registered nurse of over 40 years, but alongside that role, I have always sought a deeper meaning of what it is to live and what it is to die. For me, death is not simply the stopping of the breath, it's a journey, experienced in many dimensions, extending far beyond the corporeal. It may even be found in the space between each beat of the heart, and indeed in life-changing experience. My own path began in youth. As a teenager at just 18, I had 2 sudden successive life-changing encounters with death within months of each other. Firstly, the traumatic taking of the life of my best friend, a student nurse, in a motorbike accident. And the second, my own significant trauma with a motorbike accident at the point I was considering my own future career. So I ask you now to take a moment to recall your own first brush with mortality. Was it a loss, an accident, an illness, or a profound life-changing moment? How did it mark you? Those events I experienced initiated within me something profound and changed the course of my life direction into a nursing career and working with people at the end of their life. And perhaps of more relevance, the experience set me on a path of searching and a need to understand the mystery of both life and death. This exploration has led me down many rabbit holes of philosophy, of spiritual practice, of esoteric thought. I've wrestled with questions and I've wandered into dead ends and I've found revelations. In taking this path, I've experienced my own deaths too. Times of deep loss, endings that tore something away. Oftentimes, that which was most precious to me and led to inner dissolutions that left me changed and transformed. This is a process not without great pain at times. It was during these times I came to understand it's not a journey unaccompanied, and I learned to recognise the work with the psychopomp. Perhaps you too can recall a time when life forced you to die to something that you once were, so that something new could emerge. Professionally, I have been privileged to accompany many others on their final journey. Each life was unique, and each passage left its imprint. Each encounter expanded my reflection. To choose to care holistically for the dying is to honour the whole being, the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual. My desire to walk alongside the dying led me about a decade ago to train formally as a soul midwife with Felicity Warner, the founder of the Soul Midwives organisation. And you can easily find information online at the Soul Midwives website if you would like to learn more specifically about what we are and what we do. But tonight, I wish to expand on this personal vision or notion of a soul midwife further still, to step into the subtle and archetypal space of the soul midwife, the ancient realm of the psychopomp. Next slide, please. The bridge. I'd like you to engage and indulge me with a short meditation to prepare this space for the exploration. Imagine a person standing at the edge of a deep chasm. On the far side lies the unknown. New beginnings, growth, opportunity, understanding, but fear holds them back. On the far side, then a figure appears, quiet, unobtrusive. They carry a lantern, and its glow reveals the first stones of the path. They do not push. They do not pull. They do not hurry the traveller. They simply hold presence. Step by step, guiding with patience, until at last the traveller reaches the far side. And the figure? They vanish quietly, leaving the traveller transformed. Hold this image for a few breaths. Ask yourself, who is with the traveller? Who is the lantern bearer? This is the Psychopomp, the soul midwife of the threshold. Next slide, please. So, what is the Psychopomp archetype and how does this relate to alchemical transformation? The Psychopomp is to be found within the liminal or the in-between realm, representing the transition from life to death, from the Greek psyche, soul, and pompous, conductor or escort. From a psychological perspective, in Jungian psychology, it describes a psychopomp as not a specific archetype, but rather a psychic factor or a guiding figure that mediates between the unconscious and the conscious realms on a journey of self-actualization. From a historical and cultural view, a psychopomp is represented as a spirit or a deity that guides souls from the earthly realm to the afterlife. So how does this relate to alchemy? Well, spiritual alchemy is often described as a spiritual practice and philosophy that uses the metaphor of the transforming of lead into gold to describe a process of inner purification, personal transformation, and liberation from negative states of being to a state of spiritual enlightenment. It is a journey of self-discovery that involves understanding and integrating the conscious and unconscious aspects of the psyche, overcoming ego and limiting beliefs, and ultimately achieving a higher state of consciousness and wholeness. From this soul midwife's perspective and consideration, whichever way viewed, the function of the psychopomp is to facilitate growth and integration within the psyche by helping an individual or soul move through a new phase of development or difficult psychological impasse, be that at life's transitions or in the final journey from this life onwards at our physical death. The transformation process through life and death has a psychopomp in some form, walking alongside you quietly, without judgment, with guidance of illumination through the process, and leaves when the work is done. New slide, please. So when we look at the psychopomp in tradition, this archetype appears across every culture, in mythology, Egypt gave us Anubis, Greece, Hermes and Charon, the ferryman. The Etruscans spoke of the Vance. In the Norse sagas, the Valkyries, just 4 of so many that there are in our cultures historically. In the natural kingdom, too, we find anthropomorphic presentations such as the crow, the butterfly, the bee, or even the dolphin. Even in a sacred oil, for example, from the plant, the nard, spikenard, is used by soul midwives today to support those crossing the threshold. And then there are the internal guides. The anima, being the unconscious feminine in a man, and the animus, the unconscious masculine in a woman, can also function as psychopomps and guide folk towards a balanced integration of their inner opposing forces. So when you think of these, which of these, I would ask you, speaks to you most strongly? Is it a god? Is it an angel, a bird, an insect? Is it an inner sense or being? And why might that be? Notice the pattern. The psychopomp is more than a guide. They hold the space, they accompany the passage, and they ensure safe transformation. Across time and culture, humanity has known that no threshold is crossed alone. To the next slide. So we look at the esoteric dimension. Esoterically, the psychopomp is the agent of transformation. In alchemy, Mercury bridges matter and spirit. In occult initiation, for example, in some rites, the inner psychopomp attends the seeker as they descend into the tomb. The journey to visit the interior and to rectify the stone, otherwise known as vitriol. The alchemical truth is simple and yet profound. Every ending is a beginning. So think of something in your life that once felt like a painful ending, but with time became the seed of a new beginning, and let it rise gently to mind. The mystics spoke of the luminous body or the body of glory. Here the psychopomp is found as a midwife of the soul, guiding the crossing from flesh to spirit, from shadow to that illumination. New slide, please. And so to our world, to the modern human psychopomp. Psychopomp hasn't vanished. They walk among us. They may be a therapist, a teacher, a friend, a nurse, or a soul midwife. Their work is rarely dramatic. It's quiet, it's patient, and it's compassionate. Like the lantern bearer in our meditation, they simply hold the space until the soul is ready to step forward. I'd like you to consider for a moment who in your life has been such a guide for you, and who might be waiting for you to be that lantern bearer for them. Next slide, please. So when we come to reflection and to practice, I'd like you to consider what we have spoken about and how this can be found in your daily life, so that we may consider how to engage this archetype of psychopomp in daily life. I would suggest that first, that you learn to recognise the inner psychopomp and work with it. Secondly, consider becoming a guide for others Third, work from the soul and not from the ego. Fourth, always examine your motives. Reflect frequently. And finally, trust the process. Which of these 5 feels the most alive in you right now? Which one do you resist? The Psychopomp reminds us, as I have said, that every ending is a beginning and every threshold an invitation to light, illumination. Final slide, please. So in conclusion, the Psychopomp, the soul midwife, is eternal. We may see them in Anubis, Hermes, in Vanth, the Valkyries, in Mercury, in Christ, angels, birds, beads, spiritual leaders, and in the initiate. And we may see them in ourselves whenever we comfort, accompany, or guide another soul through the threshold that they are experiencing. As I close, I invite you to carry one image, one word, or one insight from this talk, something to accompany you as you cross your own small thresholds in the days ahead. To embrace this archetype is to honour transformation, to hold sacred space, to help souls, including your own cross, dignity, carrying from darkness into light, until every soul is able to encounter the dawn of their illumination. So I thank you for having taken the time to listen to my talk. And hopefully now we can go to some questions, open it up a little bit.
That was awesome. You got such a beautiful voice, and I was just carried away with just how, yeah, wow. Let me get rid of this. Hang on. Right. Okay.
Well, hopefully, I think it's important. It's a topic that is very much of the heart and not of the mind in so many ways. So I'm glad that it has caused you to feel a particular way, and hopefully to some of the others who may have been watching this, it gives an unspoken insight for that which can't be conveyed by word.
Yeah, it definitely resonated with a few things of things that I personally do on a daily basis, I guess. But yeah, it's it kind of, I was like, oh, I didn't expect that at all. So I was like, oh, yeah, oh wow, yeah, very good. So hello everybody. Has anybody got any questions to ask? Hi, Jacqueline. Oh, can't see. Let me just. Oh, okay. Would love an invite to visit. Oh, okay. I live 15 minutes from Southgate. Masonic said, "All right, we'll have a chat after, Joseph or Joseph. Joseph." Hi, Helen. Why? Oh, let me put you up. There we go. Why? Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
so,
good.
Why is spikenard important? Well, it's one of a toolbox of oils that have been used across thousands of years to convey what some might consider to be the consolamentum. I think the Cathars would speak about the consolamentum. It's the parting of the veil to allow the person, somebody who is crossing thresholds, to be able to see beyond and to feel beyond, to remove fear and create comfort at that point in time. It's an oil. It's an old oil. It's referred to quite a lot in Egyptian times. It was certainly used among death practices, and we mostly also hear of it in the Bible with Mary Magdalene. It's the oil of Mary Magdalene that she libated over the feet of Christ. If you recall, way before his death, she was an alchemist. It's believed to be, she carried a bottle of this around her neck. It was a ferociously expensive and difficult oil to have. So the notion that she was libating it over his feet, the lowest part of him, was such a great thing to do. So that's one of the reasons and the backgrounds for why we use it. In terms of its esoteric properties. I make it, and I personally work with it a lot, and have a completely separate talk that I have about the use of sacred oils in soul midwifery, and in particular spikenard.
I feel another talk coming on.
It is a very, you know it's a big, although it's not the scent of it that we use the oil for, the scent of it is very big. It's big, it's powerful, and it fills the room. So if you've never smelt spikenard and have the opportunity, I would definitely urge you to do it. A very small amount goes a very long way. I will use it, for example, I will put it into a stone. And I have, like, we Soul Midwives, we use this as people are transitioning. We give them maybe a small pebble stone that fits in the hand, and it grounds and gives comfort and sense there. My particular habit is to put some spikenard in that so that they're holding it as well.
Oh, what's actually, is that, so is there like, I'm assuming like herbs and things, and it's all mixed up in an oil? I'm assuming it's
spikenard is from the plant, from the nard plant, or spikenard plant, which grows in.
So it is just one plant.
It's a one plant. It is literally, it is one plant, and you can. I make spikenard through steam distillation, using alchemical steam distillation processes.
Nice.
So I mean, whilst I can buy it, it's also really good, as any magical practitioner would, to make your own tools. To take that and to use it. I've made it as a tincture as well. That's really interesting as well.
So I feel another talk coming on, Helen. all about that sort of process. Yes.
But I'd ask Bob whether that has answered his question, or whether there was more.
So Bob, did that answer your question? I'm sure he'll answer in a sec. Let me just take him off of there, and I shall wait for his answer. Question for Helen. There we go. You can read that, can't you?
I can read the next question.
Yeah. So, yeah, good.
Okay.
Well, Robert says perfect, by the way.
Thank you. Gosh, Joseph, was this a particular aspect of the issues of soul work with maybe suicide? Are you wanting me to talk about how that work is done from a psychopomp perspective, or from a because from a soul midwife perspective, that's a little bit more difficult to answer, because obviously most people who commit suicide, they quite often do it without warning. There isn't necessarily a journey. Hopefully, there will have been some work done with them. I've not obviously worked with anybody who's ultimately committed suicide. as a soul midwife, we don't work through our own beliefs. We work with people with their beliefs. We're non-judgmental. And again, from a psychopomps perspective, we're there to do. A psychopomp is there to do a task. It's there to do a role. It isn't there to cast judgment. It's to take that person from one side of that bridge and walk with them to the other, to make sure that they get there safely for whatever that transformation is for them, which is in a suicide, it's their death journey. You hold that sacred space, that light, without judgment. Compassion being a key word.
I don't know if you've seen that. Have you seen
I have absolutely zero. No, I mean, I don't even know. Sorry, I don't know what the
Ghost Whisperer
is.
I think I can't remember. I think it was some sort of. Not sure. I don't think. Yeah, I think it's not quite the same thing. I can't remember if I've seen it or not, if I'm honest. But yeah, Ghost Whisperer. I vaguely remember the name, so I think I probably have just because of the name. But
I think you could say, perhaps, if somebody is getting to that point where they are making decisions around coming to the end of their life. And there's a lot more now who are, for example, if you think about dignitas and long-term conditions, these are subjects that we have to cover with people. If they're talking about them, you may encounter it. I certainly, through my nursing career, have encountered people who have got degenerative illnesses, who've said that they simply don't want to continue or to go on. I haven't nursed anybody yet who has taken themselves, off to dignitas to do so. But again, if I was to be working with them, it would be to be sitting by their side. It's not about influencing them or guiding them into a direction. This is about them finding their way, but to support them just very quietly and compassionately, to make sure that...
a little bit... Sorry. Is it a little bit like so your Catholic... I'm just thinking about TV now. Your Catholic priest, where he gives you the last rites and things, but that would be a Catholic version of the same thing. So he kind of does his little thing to get them over to the other side. Is that kind of...
well, Nick, because you're working with people through as a soul midwife. I'm working with them with what they want and how they wish it to be. So it doesn't matter what we're not working through my personal...
No,
we're working there. So if they, for example, and Soul Midwives, we do anoint people at their death, if that's at their times, if that's what they would like us to do, we have the skill set and the understanding and the training to be able to do that in a spiritual but non-religious manner. If that's helpful. So if somebody was a Catholic and they're dying, and as a soul midwife working with them, I would want to facilitate for them and ask them if they would like a priest to come to do that. If they were a pagan, I might, for example, depending on whatever pagan thread that they were following, I would try to find somebody who could fulfill what that need was for them. Yeah,
I get you. Yeah, I think what I meant was just like, is it the same kind of process? Not bringing religion into it, but I mean, like, so he does his thing to, in a Catholic's point of view, they would want that's how they perceive themselves to go over to the other side because they need the priest. Yeah. So it's
And
like that, but without the judgment and without the religion.
yeah, and I think you have to
Yeah.
remember is that what we're doing is we're limiting our thinking a little bit here into the notion that the psychopomp is just about end of physical life. It's
Yeah.
not. It's about those moments of profound change that we encounter in our life that develop us as an individual. So it's the psychopomp is found within that space, that liminal space of
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, for example, a simple one from being a woman to becoming a mother,
Yeah.
you know, as a change. You might encounter it when you have a profound illness or you have a profound life change, becoming redundant in a job, having to try and find a new way, having a crisis of faith or of belief or view. You could, within that journey, that space from here to there, you will encounter a psychopomp.
Yeah. I've definitely had a couple of encounters. There we go. Reachable, do you find them to guidance? Do you understand that?
I'd really appreciate if you could just clarify that question a little bit more. Robin was watching the maid.
Robin.
I get afraid. Another movie I've not seen.
I haven't either. Sorry. Yes, I'm not very.
Yeah. Are you asking how do I or how do others? How do people find?
What's the previous? Do you find them to your guidance? Oh, maybe like. Do you mean? I suppose that they ask you to come. You don't force yourself on them, do you? So I'm assuming that they want you to be there. So I don't know if that's what you mean.
I mean, if he's talking about
how reachable do you find them to your guidance? Oh, yeah, you might have to explain yourself a little bit more.
I mean, I suppose one of the things I could take from that question is, you know, I would say that sometimes psychopomps appear. They come to find you when they've got work for you to do. If you are a psychopomp or a soul midwife working in this corporeal world, sometimes I have encountered psychopomps from the natural kingdom have appeared and been quite specific in their appearance to make it clear to me that they had work for me to do, which then appeared as work for me to do. So an example of that would be, there was a ruddy, great big crow that I was at work one day, probably, goodness me, about 10 years ago, 10, 15, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And sitting in an office, and then this crow just decided to sit on a post outside the window and stare at me, and really stare at me, like in a way that crows, although crows are not that keen, they're not that keen to make eye contact, but this one was really wanting to make eye contact and persist and not move. And as I was in a care home at the time, I thought, So I got up and I went out of my office and I went to the home manager's office where they were there. And I said, is everybody all right? I said, just checking, is everybody poorly or anybody well? And I told them about the crow and they said, oh yeah, we saw that crow. I said, yeah. I said, just wondering if there's been anything, you know. And so they phoned over to the units and checked. There was nobody. I went back to my office and I received a phone call from my mother to let me know that her best friend of 50 years had died. And you know, she was my godmother, and well, her husband was my godfather. And in that moment, because I'd had a little bit of forewarning, if you like, I was able to support my mum, but also to hold that space as well for my my mum's friend as well at the passing. So that's an example. And I think if you're open to these things as well, you do begin to see them.
Yeah.
Butterflies, the monarch butterfly is one of the ones that quite often, I think I've put a photograph of a monarch butterfly. It's a photograph I took, actually. It was on the inside of a window.
Is it
at the
is
wrong
it a specific
time
butterfly, or could it be
No,
any
it
butterfly?
well,
I mean,
me,
I'm just asking because I
is,
saw something. I saw something at a funeral couple of months ago, and I just thought, look at that. There's a butterfly, and I just thought, well, that's obviously the spirit of the lady that had died. That's what, in my interpretation, that's how it come across.
exactly.
I don't know.
I don't,
Yeah,
I,
and
I
I
don't
was
think
like,
so.
wow.
I don't think I don't know. I just know that when they've appeared for me, it's been a particular kind of butterfly, and sometimes it's appeared. The one that I think is in my slides was at completely the wrong time of year. It was in November.
Okay. Oh, right.
So yeah, so there was that.
Yeah.
So
It was about. Oh, I remember Ghost Whisperer now. Yes, she was a medium who helped dead people. Yes. Yes, who refused to move over. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so I think
It's quite good. I like that series.
Okay, so what I would take from that would be to say that the time it takes from when somebody passes by taking their last breath to when they have gone is quite individual and changes. And certainly nurses, it's not uncommon for us to say that we sense in a room when somebody's dying, there's a certain is a particular energy that you will feel in the room. There is still life within it. You've got a sense of it coming and of it going. It's like the intake and outtake of a breath that slowly goes. In the moments after somebody's taken their last breath, there is a really specific feeling in a room, really, really hushing, and which I can only define as a sacred moment. And in there is the notion that so it's left, but it hasn't necessarily quite realized that it's gone yet. And that can be there for a while. And there's a lot of tradition, certainly in Irish Catholicism, and I don't know, we do it as nurses all over the world. They die, you'll open the window to let it. I think people seem to do it quite even unconsciously, just to as if to let the spirit out, really. If you then revisit that room some days later, a week later, and you go in that room, nobody else has been in it, again, there is a completely different, it's an emptiness. It's empty, it's gone. There's nothing there. So there is definitely quite an intangible and a difficult to express sense that some people, when they pass, that they were ready to go, they were happy to go, they let go, and off they went. Sometimes they'll hang around a bit to make sure that everybody's okay, and that can be a matter of hours. Sometimes it can be days, and sometimes you get the sense that while you're holding that space, and we do hold the space for days and time afterwards, we use candles and illumination to do so, that you almost need to just help that soul by cutting the little tie to allow them to go.
Okay. Yeah. Can I just I need to tell you just briefly about when my mum she'd already passed by the time I'd got to the hospital, and it was the most, I don't even know, surreal. I don't know what you would call it, but it was a bit mad in my head. So so we got there, and she was still warm, and this was like an hour or even more after she'd passed away.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, why is she still warm and stuff, you know? And so I'm like, you know, doing the usual, I don't know, touchy whatever, touch a hand and
Yeah,
whatnot. And
absolutely.
I did find that awkward, because it's, you know, I just didn't know what to do, and I was just like, I was in a bit of a mad headspace, obviously, but my husband was there as well, and I was like, oh, I love you, mum, and give her a little kiss on the forehead or whatever. I can't remember what I did, to be honest, but I just remember, and then all of a sudden, I just looked at her lying there, and then I could see her lips moving. Right now, this is, I don't know, right, but I'm just going to tell you the story anyway. But I saw her lips moving. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you can hear it. I saw her lips moving, and it was just like she was having a chat, but it wasn't. Her lips weren't moving. It was like just there, just over the top. Was her lips were going, and I and my husband saw it as well, which means I'm not mad. So, so we was that, and I was just looking, and I'm going, and I just could not, and I'm like, I just couldn't, and she was chatting away, and anyway, I don't know how long this went on for, and then she was still warm. She's chatting away, and it's just like there was another layer on top of her. It was the most, another her, maybe, I don't know, whatever. But she was definitely still there. But and then it just kind of went, yeah, and then she just kind of, I didn't see any of this like woo like that. I just saw that stopped, and then she went cold, and then I was like, oh my effing god, that was just, I just couldn't believe what I saw, and to this day, so that, I think that woke me up a bit. Into
people do. You've described really well, actually, something that I know a professor in Sweden, actually, a doctor of medicine, had done some studies about this, and has done some pictures. I think you can find it online. I looked at it a few years ago, but there is this notion that there is literally almost like images where there's almost something transparent that can be seen very opaquely, you know, just above and leaving. But whether that's the case is harder. But you have just described.
I saw it. I saw it.
And did, in that moment, that impacted you in a way to know that your mum now was okay? There was more, that she'd gone, that she had gone on, and that she wasn't still there.
Yeah.
And they
what was so strange about, what was so strange is, like, because she was there for like a couple of weeks, and she had whatever, she went a bit doolally with all the infections and stuff for a little while, so she was just like talking nonsense, and she would say, she started talking really Scottish, more Scottish than she would, hen and all this sort of stuff, and she never really talked like that to me anyway. And then the following day we'd come in, and she was like talking to me like a normal person. I know that sounds a bit mad, but like having a proper chat, which she hadn't done for quite some time, but she was having a proper chat like she was, I don't know, 20 years younger or something. It was bizarre. And she'd said, I think it was the day, whichever day, I don't know. And she says, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with myself. And I was like, oh. And then the following day, that day, she was all chatty, like normal. And then the following day, she died. She passed away. But yeah. And I was just like, just the whole experience made me know that she's fine. And she was, you know, she's gone off, she's popped off, and she was fine. And because my dad had passed away, like, I don't know, long time before that, when I got married, so 25 years ago, whatever. So, and I had, after they'd both passed, one day, sorry, I'm going to babble now, but I have to tell you these things because it's kind of part of it.
It's important. It's important for you to say it.
And she, like, one day I was so upset. I can't remember what was wrong with me. I was sitting in bed, and I was just really, really I think feeling sorry for myself probably more than anything else. And I can't remember what it was about. It was just something where I just felt really down, and I was going, crying to myself and on my own when nobody can see me and all that. So, there was none of that. Oh, I had to be strong and I had to do all this stuff. I was in my own bedroom. That was it. And I was a cyclone, and I had the most surreal experience of my parents both giving me a hug, and that was real. That was proper real for me.
Absolutely.
Proper real.
I think that we do. I think that at certain times, I hear many stories, and I've heard them from even my own children, where people that they've loved who've passed have appeared in unexpected moments to them, whether it be in their waking day or in their dreams, and spoken to them to tell them that they're okay, and everything is okay. And I think that helps. However you want to look at it, it's a good thing. One of the things that we spend so much time with in life is avoiding considering and accepting that we must die. You see, not dwelling and becoming morose about it, but actually exploring death and coming to our own peace about our own mortality. And it has been my long held view that you can't truly live life until you have accepted and understood that you must die. And then, life takes on a different meaning and a different enjoyment as well. Yeah,
that's true. There we go. Got another question.
Now that's a really good question, Bob, because how long would I sit with somebody? That depends on the circumstance that there is there, to physically sit with them. I mean, I personally, when I have nursed and I've had opportunity to do so, I have sat there for as long as I have felt it right to do so. Because there's two aspects to that. If I'm working as a nurse with somebody who's dying, if they have got family there, then I would not remain in that room unless requested to do so, because I need to give family opportunities and privacy to be able to spend that time with that person. And I make sure that they are aware that they can stay for as long as they like. There is no hurry. Now bear in mind that I work with, I've most of my my experience with nursing people who are dying has been in social care backgrounds. It's been in care homes and it's been with elderly people, and there's certainly not been a rush. Inside of a hospital, a really good amount of time is given for people to do that, but they are busy environments and they're different environments. If somebody is at home, again, that's different. If somebody is alone, I would stay. I would have to use my own intuition as to how long I would sit with them. Just because I leave doesn't necessarily mean that I have left them, because that would be putting something that is without bounds into a box that it can only exist within a room, and it doesn't. So I have carried at times people with me back at home and continued to hold that sacred space for a period of time. It's quite often 3 days is seems to be a good amount of time, enough to hold a space for somebody to move on. It's very individual, and you do have to draw upon your inner senses with that as well, whether you're a professional or whether you're a family member, and it's your loved one or it's a friend. how does the
Another quid.
So how does the recipient, I presume, well, if the person doesn't want you to be there, they go. Would be the easiest way. I presume that you're referring to after they have taken their last breath and that they have moved on. You know, that is the case. I could probably answer rather than think, because we're moving away slightly from Psychopomps, but I'll to go to it because I'll talk a little bit as a soul midwife and as a nurse. Is there a resistance to the process? I think when people are dying, there is certainly times that people don't realise that's what's happening at that moment. So and they will hang on. I've definitely looked after people, as have many of my colleagues, and there are lots and lots of stories that say that people they're really struggling and they're hanging on and they're hanging on and they're hanging on, and it's almost as if they're waiting for something, and then a family member who's in America has been able to get the flight over, and they've arrived in the room and they've been able to see them, and then they go. Or sometimes, and actually a lot more commonly than you might imagine, I've seen people who've been labouring at the end of their life who've waited until their family members have gone to go and have a rest or to go and have something to eat and have left the room. And while they were away, it's almost as if they've gone, okay, I can go now. And sometimes we do, giving permission to go, to saying it's okay, is a really important thing to do for people who, which you might feel as a family. People will say, why are they hanging on? Why are they doing it? I said, well, maybe it's okay. You need to say to them, it's okay to go, that you're going to be all right, that you'll be fine, because mums, dads worry about their children. Are they going to be all right? That's the way I've experienced it. Without actually having conversation with the person as to whether they're just trying to hang on to life and haven't accepted it. I can't, because I don't have those conversations with them, because then they're in the liminal space of in between. But I have certainly given people permission and said it's okay to go. It's fine. You'll be okay, and have seen them then relax and go.
Yeah, I wish I'd known when my mum passed. I wish I'd known what I know now. I think I would have done things a little bit different, but yeah. Or said things differently.
Do you know, I sat with my own mother for the last couple of weeks, particularly the last 7 days of her life, and it was not just because she was my mum, but just her death as well, and her journey was just quite unusual and extraordinary, and conveyed the strength of character that she was. It was very much done on her terms when she was ready, and it was great to be able to say a lot of all the things, and it was such a loving thing to be able to do. We can always reflect back and go, I wish I'd maybe done this a bit differently, or maybe I'd done that. But it doesn't matter. It's okay. All that unspokenness is understood.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she knows.
I think Carl makes a really good point. Memento mori,
Yeah.
Remember, we must die. We must.
Yeah, we must die. We haven't got a choice. If you die before you die, then you don't die when you.
If you don't die before you die, then you don't die when you do die. That's a very profound. That was a very profound philosophical
isn't it?
point. But indeed, yes. I think it's about awakening, perhaps as well, because we're sitting here and we're all interested. Anybody who's watching this is interested in the more magical and esoteric aspects and philosophical aspects of things. that is a great truth, isn't it, really? We have to die to ourselves. You know, how could, you know, becoming present, becoming awake in the world.
Yeah.
And now, you can only do that through transformation.
Exactly.
And through the transformation process of that alchemical journey that is well known, and it's set out, and it is the way it is. You come back to that sense of the Ouroboros, of the serpent eating its own tail, that nothing really dies, it's reborn. But eventually, when you do die, hopefully you'll have made sure that you did die.
Yeah. Well, and maybe reborn as something else. Or someone else. Who knows? Or whatever. Who knows?
Totally. That, you know, this is it.
That's another conversation.
I'm going to say this is it. It's a subject that you know, I would say almost all thoughts about occult and esoteric and magical practices and journeys are all ultimately about the same thing. It's all alchemy, and it's all about understanding life and death. That's it. And coming closer to understanding the purpose.
I think that's why, I mean, I've picked a few things that I do personally in my life. I've picked a few channels that I go down, and I've picked all of them, obviously for a reason. And they've all, you know, kind of make, you know, they do. You're awake. Now we're awake. I mean, you talk to me.
Are you sure you're awake? Are you sure you're awake? Or are you actually still asleep within another dream?
Oh my God! Don't start me on that one. Right, but in my opinion, I'm awake. So
right now, you're awake in this moment.
25 years ago, I wasn't awake. I would be a muggle in what I call now a muggle. I know that sounds mad, but I just dreamt through everything in my life. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, blah, blah, blah. And in those 25 years or more, I now consider myself, I see myself as the I and as the body. So I see myself as the two. So I don't know if that even makes sense.
I would say, for me, I would say there is only now.
Oh, there is only now. You're right. Yeah. I wish. Yes. Now you're right about that bit. Yeah. There is only now, and there is no time. Time is a metaphor and all that stuff. Yeah. Now that is one thing I do struggle with, is the now. Yeah, I do.
Now, and if you, I think in one of my slides again, I'd put a slide from a gravestone of a lady called Constance Smedley, that was carved by Maxwell Armfield, her husband, and it says, "Now and here in Deo Confido." So yes, we only have now and here.
Now and here. I've got to put that up everywhere. Just think now and here. It's true. Yeah, you're right. There is nothing else. Do you assess the elemental 4?
I'm so sorry. It's not a term I'm familiar with.
Me neither. Sorry, Joseph. There are elemental forces to let go, or is that a separate process? Oh, the elemental forces to let go. So
So certainly the elemental forces, before you die, the elements do leave your body, and quite often and from a soul midwives, from the training perspective that we do, we usually look at that in a particular order. And when I learnt about it, it made complete sense. And any nurses I've spoken to, or anybody who looks after the dying, and I've explained it to them, it makes total sense to them that the elements leave in a particular way. You tend to find that the element of earth leaves us first, and that's one of the longer periods of time for it to take, time to leave the body. It can be up to 10 years even. But you start to see that process in somebody, and you start to sense it. You can sense it, smell it, see it, know it. They quite often start to behave in particular kinds of ways. You then see the element of water beginning to leave the body. That's often expressed by emotions, even by physical swelling, edema, tears, a sense of wateriness. And then the fire stage of the terminal agitation, for example, and the physical temperature gets hot, not wanting to be touched, being quite angry. And then finally the air phase, when the element of air will leave and the breathing changes and labours and eventually goes off. So that's how, I hope that explains, how I view it and how some others view it as well. Oh, thanks, Joseph. I hope I've answered them in the way that I've understood your questions and been able to answer them the way you needed.
Joseph, I will stick my email address on here on the comments, because whenever I've spoken to people afterwards, I can never get hold of them after. So if you email me on this email address, then speak to me afterwards on that email address about what you spoke about earlier about Southgate, because I haven't forgotten, which is quite good for me, to be fair. Okay, wow, thank you so much, Helen. That was such an amazing talk, and I'm booking you in for the next one because you've got lots to talk about, haven't you?
That's me. Well, thank you very much. Well, I'm glad that you've enjoyed it. I hope that you've been able to take something from it. I hope that you've been able to take that actually death and dying isn't just about physical end of life. It's also about the death to ourselves in our life journeys as well, and finding it in the small places, and also about having the confidence to understand it in you and to give you some confidence to walk along with people in just their everyday paths as well.
Yeah, that was so cool. I'm blown away. I am blown away. I sincerely mean that. It was a lovely talk. Thank you. And it's given me some more things to think about. And if you could pop over the website and stuff, or any other information, and I will put it in the description below, everyone. If anybody wants to look into more about what Helen does and all that sort of stuff, then then I shall stick that in. Thank you so much, Helen. It was lovely to see you. And hopefully I'll see you again soon in whichever capacity, and start sorting out your next talk.
Thank you. All
right. Thanks so much, and I shall see you soon. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.
Well, isn't she lovely? Oh my God, she's just so lovely. It's just one of those. It's one of them, isn't it? It's one of them thinking ones. So, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm feeling very quite emotional this evening, to be fair. And so the next monthly Mystical, I forgot to bring my diary up, so I haven't got the date. I think it's the 3rd of October. And we're talking all about, we have a major witch of the country coming on, and she's talking all about why we're bringing in stuff from every other country when we've got everything on our own doorstep in the UK. So it's that kind of talk, and it's all nice witchy stuff. So please come and join us then. Please, let me just change my little thing. Oh no, not that one. Please do like and subscribe to the channel, That would be so good, because the more people I have to speak to, the more people I can get on. So yeah, and the more fun we have. So if you want to see more magical talks, or from all walks of life, that's what I am passionate about, is to bring everyone from all walks, all the magical communities, into one space. And that's my goal. One day I will do that. We'll have everyone all chatting and arguing, probably, about who's better than who. But yeah, I hope you have a fantastic evening. You know me, I babble on, don't I? Have a fantastic evening, and I shall see you next time on the Monthly Mystical. I'll see you soon. Have a lovely evening. Bye for now.